Welcome to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur podcast. I am your host, Kayleigh Greenacre, a business strategist, coach, TEDx speaker, author, and your go-to woman for all things business strategy. I am obsessed with supporting female entrepreneurs to grow unstoppable six and multi-six-figure businesses that they love, giving them the freedom and life that they desire. During this podcast, I'll be sharing with you everything that you need to become a successful female entrepreneur, from the mindset shifts to sales and marketing strategies, and how to become an iconic leader that people can't get enough of. It is my mission to help you stand out, attract your dream clients and customers, and sell out of your offers with ease whilst building the business and life of your dreams. Let's make this your reality, ladies. Hello, ladies, and welcome to another episode of Actually I Can, the Female Entrepreneur podcast. And I am joined today by the fabulous Kelly Cookson, who is a marketing strategist and email copywriter. And in this episode, we are going to be looking at how you can get to six figures in a 20-hour week, looking at behind the scenes in Kelly's business strategy and marketing plan, which has enabled her to hit six figures working just 20 hours a week. So Kelly, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to chat to you about this whole 20-hour week, six-figure business thing. So ask me plenty of questions. Let's get down to it.
100%. It's absolute pleasure. So let's dive in. Can we start by you giving us a little bit of an overview of your journey to reaching six figures whilst working just 20 hours a week?
Yeah, so I want to start by saying that was never my goal. All I wanted to do was match my part-time marketing manager salary when I started running my own business. My daughter just was about to turn 3. And I just wanted to, a lot of us mums do this where you have your kid and then you realize that the corporate ladder maybe isn't the ladder you want to climb anymore. So I went through that whole journey, started my own business. I was a marketing freelancer for hire because that was my main gig. I was a marketing manager for a software company. And all I wanted to do was to be able to continue to pay my half of the bills, support my family, have money to spend on the stuff that I like. So that was all I wanted to do. I had no idea that one day or any aspiration to go on to turn over 100K. That to me would have been at that time absolutely bananas money and not something I was actually aspiring to. Just wanted to cover my part-time salary.
Yes.
So that's where I started from.
Being a mummy and just trying to obviously, or being able to support your family and obviously the transition as well in terms of, being a mummy and obviously looking at building your business is, is something that we look at. But you have achieved some incredible things. So I want to dive into this a little bit more. What marketing strategies do you use to get the best results in your business? Let's kind of start with the marketing side of things.
Okay, so luckily for me, I had been working in marketing for 12 years at the point where I started my own business. So I really feel for entrepreneurs starting a business that haven't got any marketing background. Like most of my clients are service-based businesses and they are not necessarily from a marketing background. So I always feel like I had a head start in that regard because I knew that exactly what I needed to get in place to be able to sign clients straight away. And that's what I did with my business. I managed to match my corporate salary in month 1, starting that new business. So the strategies that I used to get there, in the beginning, I had just set up a website. I used Squarespace. I'd started an Instagram account and I had 0 people on my email list because, of course, I was starting from scratch. So in the first sort of few months, I just let everybody in my network know that I was starting a business, freelancer for hire, come and get me for anything that you need to do with your marketing. So that was it. I tapped into my network. But I knew long term that I wanted to be able to, bring clients in through other channels, right? And because of my marketing experience, the main channel that I wanted to focus on was an email list. Because we all know, or if you don't know, this is your warning, that social media is extremely fickle in terms of the reach that you'll get. It can take hours and hours and hours to create content. Sometimes you put your heart and soul into stuff like content or reels on Instagram, and then no one sees it, no one comments, no one engages. It's kind of soul destroying a lot of the time. Yeah. So for me, I knew I was going to stick with Instagram as my social media channel. And actually I had Facebook as well. But I knew from day one that I wanted to grow an email list. So I focused on that. I got my Squarespace website live. I had an opt-in form at the bottom of that page, on every page in the footer, inviting my ideal client to sign up to my list. And then it took me a little while because I had no traffic, no social media following. It was just like friends and family hanging around and knowing what I was doing. But when I got to the grand total of 30, so 30 subscribers, I sent my first email out. And that was probably in about April 2020.
Yeah.
So what, just over 4 years at the time of recording this. And I've sent one email, at least one email a week, every single week since that first email. So I knew this is going to be my channel. I'm going to push people from social media onto my email list. I'm going to get out and do podcasts and push people onto my email list. I'm going to tell everybody that will listen to get on my email list, because that's going to be my main marketing channel. And that is the one that brings in the best results for my business in terms of making me money, generating leads in the least amount of time possible. Because as we said, I work 20 hours a week. So I've not got 20 hours a week to be pumping into social media. I've got to get my email list working.
Oh, I absolutely love this. And so many people do focus on the content of social media. And it's incredible to have you as an expert, as a marketing strategist, to come on and to share with our listeners how you can maximize your email marketing. So if you are listening to this podcast and you do not yet have an email list built, or if you're not using email marketing, then keep listening in, because Kelly is going to share with us some incredible tips and tricks in terms of how you can really maximize this. So let's dive in a little bit more then about your actual email marketing strategy. It's something that I'm very interested to find out more about, as well as probably many of our listeners. How do you personally then structure your email marketing strategy to achieve high impact, but with low effort? And what tips could you share maybe for others that are looking to do the same?
Yeah, I love this question. And look, if you're listening to this and you've gone all in on social media, don't feel bad. Like, I think social media is a brilliant channel. Like for me, setting up that Instagram and putting out on Facebook that I was, now open for business, did bring me in some clients and help to spread the word. So I think it's an incredible way for people without any marketing budget, because all of my social media was organic. It's only this year that I've started running ads, is a brilliant way to start spreading the news. So you should do that, but I just don't want you to put all of your eggs in the social media basket. So the way that I use email marketing in my business, and the way that I teach my clients to do this, is to think about your email as a long form piece of content, and to start with that first. So remember, I said my email list was teeny tiny when I started sending an email every week, 30 people. But I was like, look, it's worth getting an email out and getting into the rhythm. And the way I tend to do my content marketing now is I start with email. So I think, right, what do I need to be telling my subscribers this month, this quarter, which always work backwards from what am I selling? How can I warm them up? What key messages do I need to share and keep reminding them of, so that they understand how I can help them and, get some value out of it as well? And I start with an email every week, and then I break that email down into social media content. So that's a top tip. If you're thinking email's too hard to get one out every week, you will absolutely be creating some content already that you could either switch it around and make it a bit longer, like an email or even a blog, and then chop that up. So I will chop up an email. Maybe it can even get me 3, 4, maybe 5 social media captions, pass them to my VA. She schedules them. So I don't even need to go on Instagram if I don't want to. So time saving there, just doing the one email, making it pack a punch, and then sprinkling and repurposing that content across your other channels.
I love this. And repurposing is such an important thing to do, especially for anyone that's struggling in terms of time, energy, because we're all spinning and juggling lots of different plates. And if you are a newer entrepreneur and listening to the podcast, then you're probably creating content, writing your emails, doing all of the admin, doing your accounts, then actually serving your clients. You're probably taking on quite a few different roles. So this is a really, really good tip to use to kind of, basically utilize, should I say, your email, and then obviously turning it into more pieces of content. So I absolutely love this.
I was going to say, if you think about creating a social media caption every day for a month, that's 31 captions. That fills me with like a sense of dread. I don't have time to write 30 social media captions. It's so much work. It's hours and hours of work. If you think I'm going to do an email a week, so 4 emails this month, that seems more doable, right? So mentally I'm there. I'm like, yes, it's just 4 emails. It's not 30 pieces of content.
Yes.
And then, okay, from these emails, maybe I can break them down, repurpose them. And I think people overthink email. So if you're listening to this and going, oh, actually, it feels easier to create social media content, look, you've probably got some content that could be an email already. So you don't necessarily have to start with the email first, like I'm doing, but get into the habit of choosing like the best social media post, or the one that got the most engagement, maybe expanding a little bit, that's your email. If you can send 30 social media captions a month, or maybe you're doing one every other week, whatever, 15, you've got so much content there. You can absolutely do one email a week. Like, definitely you can.
I love this. And something that I've noticed as well, when, there are lots of different experts out there that teach marketing in slightly different ways. And I would love your opinion on this actually, in terms of email marketing. A lot of questions come my way as well from my own clients in terms of, what do you put in that email? Should it be value? Should it be educational? Should it be storytelling? Should it be a mixture of all of the things? What would you say in terms of advice to our listeners today as to how to, not necessarily how to structure, but how to kind of really focus that overall topic and, the style of the email?
Do you know what? I have at least somebody every week asks me, or says to me, oh, I just want my emails to be full of value. Like, I don't want to sell. Like, I don't want people to feel like I'm being salesy or spammy and all of that. So I get it that you want to put lots of value in your emails, but I have a quick reframe for you around what value actually means and what it could include. Value does not always mean to give free advice. So if you're struggling to create valuable content because you think it must be tips and tricks or, a really well thought out piece of advice, value could actually mean maybe entertaining your reader for 5 minutes while they read your email. That is valuable. For them to read an email and feel that you get them and you resonate with them and you maybe have some empathy for the problem or whatever that they're going through at the minute, that is also valuable. You could share something behind the scenes in your life or business. Again, thinking about the ideal client reading it, they will find that valuable. It doesn't always have to be that your email is valuable in terms of giving free advice, right? So try and flip the script on what you mean by value. And I always spread across like value content, but in the way I've just described it. So entertaining, giving a behind the scenes glimpse, that kind of thing, a little bit of storytelling, with the nurturing content, which is anything that can get your ideal client to read that email and imagine them like nodding along as they're reading it, going, oh my God, this is me. Like, she's talking about me, to move them along the buyer's journey. Because when people jump on your email list, they might not have had any other touch points in terms of marketing with you. They may have come from your Instagram, so maybe they have seen something there, or maybe a Google search if they've come via a blog and then opted in. It depends how much of your content they've seen as to how much they know about you. So I think about the buyer's journey from what you'd call a cold lead, signing up to your email list, to then over time, you nurture them so that they know who you are as a person, what your business is all about, exactly how you can help them, how you empathize with them, how you understand the transformation that they really want to achieve. And you do all of that through your content, just from talking about maybe what you're doing in your own life or business, or what you're doing with your clients, sprinkling in some advice maybe, and then moving towards selling. So my content will be a mixture of nurturing and value, and then moving on to a sales email, because there's no point growing that list and putting all of your heart and soul into writing these emails if you're not actually going to invite your subscribers to take the next step and work with you some way.
I love this. Absolutely love this. Some great advice there in terms of how to really utilize your emails and obviously, like you said, give the value and then lead into the sale. So thank you for sharing that. And in terms of amounts of emails, because I know that you touched on you started off with one email a week, and it's a really good starting point. In your eyes, or in your perspective, what do you think is the best to work towards in terms of the amount of emails per week?
I send so many emails, right? And I know when most people think about sending more than one email a week, they're like, oh no, but I don't want people to unsubscribe, especially when you work so hard to get those subscribers. Like when you start email marketing and you see people that unsubscribe, it's like, well, for me, it's like a dagger to the heart.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, especially if you know them. I have a funny story about that actually, which is just a bit of a lesson for your listeners about the unsubscribes. Like I would say, don't look at the people who've unsubscribed, just look at the percentage, and you want it to be under 3% ideally. But I once had somebody unsubscribe that I knew in real life. And again, that dagger to the heart moment of, oh my God, she hates me. Why shouldn't subscribe for my emails? Well, it turns out she's on there twice, right? 2 email addresses, like a Gmail and a work email. And then she ended up buying something from me. So it was all fine. But never look at who's unsubscribing. But what was my point? Yes, the number of emails you should send. So I have tested this for myself, for my clients, and for all of the organizations that I've worked for over the last 15 years. I've been doing email marketing since 2008. And I can say from the stats, this is 100% true. The more emails you send, the more money you will make. And as long as you are really dialed into your ideal client and what they care about, what makes them tick, and you make the emails about them, and wanting to help them and provide and come at it from a place of service, you will not get people unsubscribing in their droves. I've had sales campaigns go out where I've had like 0.1% of people unsubscribe, and I've emailed them every day for pretty much 2 weeks. On the final day, cart closing, I'll email 3 times, and my unsubscribe rate is small because I've got the right people on the list. They know what I'm talking about is relevant for them. And even if they don't buy that time, they hang around because there's something else that they might buy from me. So the more, the better. Like, I'd say gold standard has got to be 2 emails a week in terms of when you're not selling. If you can just get 1 out for now, if you're like thinking, oh my God, I'm only sending 1 a month, she's saying 2 a week, start with 1 a week, that's fine. But build up to 2. And that means that when it comes to selling, you can easily send an email every day, and you've already got that cadence, you've got that buy-in from your subscribers. They like you already. They're used to seeing you email them a lot. So they will not unsubscribe when you start sending loads of sales emails.
Amazing. And I always look at it from this perspective as well of, some of the biggest, most successful companies that we subscribe to. And obviously they're going to be sort of bigger corporate businesses and all of the things. But, some of the biggest brands, for example, I sometimes receive 2 emails a day from some of them about the summer sales or their X, Y, and Z's. And, although they're not a personal brand, so they're not touching into like their own personal stories and things, but they're still emailing me. I'm still subscribed. I'm still looking out for their latest deals or, their newest trends, etc., that are coming in, especially if it's like fashion, hair, beauty, etc. And again, it just goes to show that it works. So
Yeah, exactly.
I really like that. I love that.
More emails you send, the more money you make. So there's a little catchphrase for you, but it's 100% true. I've tested this, and I'm about to go into launch mode again, where I'll be emailing every day for 11 days. And it helps me to get towards my sales target, right? So
absolutely. Love it. Absolutely. So let's talk more about your typical week, because obviously only working 20 hours a week is the dream to a lot of people. And I would love to kind of dive into this a little bit more. So can you walk us through, or just tell us a typical week in the life of Kelly and within your business?
So I would work more hours, right? But I have a 7-year-old and I do the school run both ends of the day. I wanted to do that always. Like, I didn't want to use childminders or get a nanny. Like, I love being there for her when she comes out of school. So it's my choice. I do work Monday to Friday. So there's none of this, like I take Fridays off or anything. But yeah, I'm working, sort of drop her off. I get to my office like quarter to 10, sort of 10ish. And then I have to leave at about 2:45. So it's a very short day. Now, there's a bit of a caveat here. Sometimes after school, she's at the age now where she'll sit and, like, if I say, do you want to watch Netflix? She's like, yes, please. It's like, loves it. So she'll go and watch TV for an hour and I can do a bit more work. But I do know by that sort of time of day, I'm a bit tired and, my brain's not as creative as it is first thing in the morning. So I tend to do my thought-led kind of content creation, strategy stuff. That's first thing in my diary. So I always prioritize what is like a revenue generating task this week. So thinking about, if I've got a 6-figure goal or 250K, whatever my goal is for the year, the month, the quarter, working backwards from that, what tasks do I need to get done? And then I will put the most important things in first. I also look at my diary and I put in my me time. So my Google Calendar, I'm such a nerd, it's like color coded with an inch of its life, but the purple stuff is my stuff. So today I actually did a 10 a.m. Pilates class and then came to my office because I knew I was recording this podcast with you, and then I'll be off again for the school run. So I didn't actually start work till 11:30 today. So it's a bit of a short day, but crucially, and if you're listening to this thinking, oh, how's she making any money or get anything done? When I prioritize the stuff that makes me feel good, so this is like a well-being, energy, self-care thing, I am way more productive than if I would force myself to sit at my desk for like the whole day and just grind it out. So I know that by prioritizing getting to the gym or, walking the school run instead of dashing in the car and then dashing to work, I could be here half an hour if I did that, half an hour earlier, but it's not productive. So I try and engineer my week so that I've got some stuff in there that's going to raise my energy and make me feel like, yes, I can crack on and get this task done double time.
I love it. I love it. And in terms of productivity then, and how to maximize this so that you can get as much done in as less time as possible, I know you've kind of touched on sort of your ways there and what you use specifically. Is there anything else? Is there anything specifically that you use, or is there a system that you use specifically to help you with this?
Yeah, kind of. So the first thing is I'm really mindful of energy. So I've just touched on that, but I always think things are going to take as much time as you give them. So I have that written on a post-it in my office. And
Yeah.
I do actually think that doing the school run is kind of a catalyst for making me crack on, because I've got a hard stop at 2:45. So it's like, if I'm doing a task, I know that I've got to get it done. I don't want to have to then pick it up again after school. So I think there's like that thing of having a deadline, like mentally, I'm good at that. Like that makes me be more productive. But it's about knowing when I've got enough energy to do the task. So I mentioned a minute ago, but I don't try any of the, like, say I'm writing a sales campaign, maybe like 11 emails to write or 15 emails, whatever. That's a hell of a lot of copywriting. I know that if I try and write that email at 8 o'clock at night, it's going to take me twice as long if I did it than if I did it at 10 a.m. in the morning. So my piece, like a takeaway for your listeners, would be to think about your energy levels. Are you a night owl or an early bird? When can you use the time where you're feeling like most on it, most awake, most energized, most productive, and tackle the tasks in your business that are going to make the money first?
Yeah.
There's a golden rule for me that I live and die by, and that is that I do not use my email, like my inbox, so people emailing me, I don't go in there first thing, because what happens is you start reading all the emails that you've got to reply to, and you think, oh, I'll just reply to John or whatever. And I'll just do that. And then what happens is your people that are emailing you or clients asking you to do stuff, they are then controlling your time for the rest of the day, because they're setting the tone. They're setting your task list, your to-do list. Before you know it, it's school run time. You've not done anything in the back end of your business to help you like scale that business and grow and do your marketing and so on. So if you're listening to this and you are constantly sort of getting to your desk, opening up your emails, or however you're communicating with your clients, I always say, like, they're not going to die if you leave it till after lunch, like just go back to them. After that, get your work done first. I've always got my work done first. I've got lots of happy clients, but I don't start the day by being pulled around by other people's demands on my time.
I love this. I love this advice. And, hopefully with, again, those of you that are listening, in terms of prioritizing, thinking about how you can really maximize your time and when the best times of the day are for you to actually do certain jobs and tasks. I know I'm a massive early bird. I love to wake up early, depending on if I've got my daughter or not. And I would literally crack on at 5 a.m. if I could. And I'd record podcasts. I do a lot of my heavy behind the scenes workload early on in the morning, because it's when I'm most productive. The evenings is an absolute no-go for me. I'm not very good in the evenings, but I think it's really important. Something that I'm really interested in, Kelly, is mindset. And I ask pretty much all of my guests questions around mindset. Is there anything that you particularly use as a tool or a technique to manage your mindset, especially when you've got a lot on your plate, such as a live launch this week?
Yeah. So I didn't realize when I started my own business that mindset was a thing, right? Because in my corporate life, it wasn't something that we ever delved into, It's just like you get your tasks done, you do your job, you go home. Oh my God, being a business owner, I swear about 80% of success is mindset, maybe more. And I had no idea. So a quick like recap, but 6 months into my business, I ended up getting a coach, like an intuitive coach, because I just had this sense of like, I'm building a bit of a monster here, and I didn't love like the business that I'd created. And actually working with her really showed me that I had to listen to like my inner guide rather than just chasing the money, which might sound a bit what's that word? The opposite of what I've just been saying about make money, send your emails, all that stuff. But actually, you need to listen to your own inner guidance and create something that you are going to be fulfilled by. So I ended up sacking off 90% of my clients 6 months into my business and starting again. And then things really took off. But it's like new level, new devil. So, another 6 months in, I think I'd probably got my first, I'd definitely done a 5K month. And then it was like the March after I'd started. So 15 months into my business, I had my first 10K month. Again, this was me just trying to make a couple of grand a month. And now I'm like making 10K. But it was like new level, new devil. And there would be this thing, mindset, where I would feel like, oh my God, like what's happening? Or imposter syndrome will come in, or I can't keep doing this. All of those things, those doubts, those things that come up, that is like a mindset thing. So in the summer of 2022, I ended up doing a positive psychology coaching certification, because not only just to teach me like a scientific method to handle my mindset and to feel really good and excited about the future and, keep going with the business, but also because I realized I wasn't the only one. My clients all had this as well. I work with a lot of women, and men to a certain extent do have the same like mindset issues. But I think with women, it's maybe a little bit more prevalent, or we share about it a little bit more. Yes. So I was giving my clients these marketing strategies, like, right, you're going to do this, and here's your visibility and all this stuff. And then something would hold them back. And it was the thing that had held me back. It was mindset. So I decided I need to go and learn how to actually coach people out of this. Otherwise, the work I'm doing with them on their marketing isn't going to get them the results, as good as it could be. So for me, the mindset side of things in terms of success is I do a lot of journaling. I write every night, like what's coming up for me, or I write down my goals. I actually have a checker in my diary where I speak my goals aloud like 5 times a day. So
Love
in the
this.
car, I'm like talking about my money goals. I like everything's working out perfectly. Yay, all those kind of things. I love positive affirmations. It just makes me feel like, yes, I can do this. But positive psychology is very much around like flourishing and feeling the best version of you can be. And again, that goes back to me actually prioritizing the me time stuff in my diary, getting to the gym, because I know when I skip that in favor of working, I don't feel as good and I don't get the results. Like mindset is massive. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. And I'm always fascinated to know what people do in terms of mindset, because I think as a female entrepreneur, we're all under an awful lot of pressure, a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves, but we are under pressure in different times of the year, and depending whether you're launching or whether you're, focusing on a different project, etc. But I think, at the same time, it can be a very, very lonely place when you're managing your own business, regardless of whether you've got a team or not. You're at the top, you're the CEO, and it's all down to you and your energy and all these things. But I think, like you said, mindset plays a massive part of it, something I'm very, very passionate about. And I always love to know what people are doing. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I absolutely love your techniques and ways of, especially when you're saying sort of chanting out your goals and telling yourself your goals every day, which I think is great. So we're coming towards the end of the episode, and I would love to know, what would be the final piece of advice that you would give our listeners today?
So if we're talking about making the use of your best use of your time, I would talk about or suggest outsourcing or eliminating stuff, right? So I'm really good at looking at my to-do list and then scratching a big fat red line through half of it. And I prioritize that by thinking, is this going to make me money? No. Is this going to like take my business where I want it to go? No. So I get rid. But, thinking about that first 6 months in business, I hired a VA around the same time that I decided I was going to burn my business down and start again. I got a VA and she was about £250 a month back then. We still work together now. Best investment ever, because she just took all of those little 5-minute tasks away from me that actually take up a hell of a lot of mental space. So thinking, oh, I need to send that invoice. Oh, I need to post that on Instagram. I need to do X, Y, and Z. She takes all of that admin off me. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling like admin has got you in a chokehold, outsource it. It was going to free out much more time and headspace and your creative energy to actually like move your business forward. And prioritize your revenue generating tasks. So I've mentioned this before, but honestly, it's so important. I think about over anything, what am I doing every day, every week, every month to take the business to the next step and make the money? I see so many people like fighting their way through a to-do list actually doesn't result in revenue for the business. So think about, what is the activity that I'm going to take today, this week, that is going to bring cash in. So I'm always thinking about that. So delegate or eliminate tasks that aren't making money. Focus on the revenue generating stuff first. And be mindful of your energy. I think I've given you 3 tips now, but be mindful of your energy. What can you do to fill your own cup so that you're absolutely on it, and then you can get all of this stuff done?
Love this. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of this advice and just giving us an insight into your business, your journey, and some great tips and strategies to support our fabulous listeners. Final question, and I ask all of my fabulous guests on the podcast this exact question. What is, and I know we're halfway through the year as we record this episode, but what is your word or mantra for this year?
Well, I've just chosen a new word for the second half of the year because I've done a lot of personal development again this year. And my word for the second half of 2024 is commit. So I know what I've got to do to take my business to where I want it to go. I have to commit to that, fully trust in the process. It's all about committing to what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm all in. Let's go. I just feel it has a lot of power, like commit. I keep saying that to myself. Trust the process, commit. I'm here. I'm doing it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being our guest on today's episode, Kelly. Where can our listeners find and connect with you?
So my Instagram handle is at cheerupmarketing. And if you go to my website, cheerupmarketing.com, I've actually got a special offer for your listeners for their email marketing, where they can get my support for a £5. Do you want me to share that?
Yes, do.
So I have a little service called The Spark. If you go to cheerupmarketing.com, you'll see at the top there's a banner. So you can click on that and go and check out The Spark. But it's your weekly email, 90% done for you by me. And for your podcast listeners, if they put in the code POD5, so POD5, you'll be able to try it for £5 for your first month. So you're going to get instant access to a year's worth of email templates. There's no contract. You can cancel anytime if you don't love it, but you can try it for £5. So there you go. They're my emails, templated for you. Take them, send an email every week, dead easy.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. That's such a kind and generous offer for the listeners as well. So listeners, make sure you go and give Kelly a follow over on socials, but also check out her fabulous offer there on her website. All of the details are in the show notes. Thank you so much, Kelly. It's been an absolute pleasure having you today.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone that's joined us on the episode. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And I will see you again next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Actually I Can Female Entrepreneur Podcast with me, your host, Kayleigh Greenacre. If you are ready to build, grow, and scale your dream six-figure or multi-six-figure business, then head to our website now for more information or connect with me on socials to see how you can create your dream business and dream life.